Pride be the rise, you died trying to feel alive, but I'm incentivized by a dime that's sick in her thighs. Aren't we all?
Same.
Aren't we all? So,
Spiritual. Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how the album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video, subscribe to us, and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Adriel Smiley Official, aka The Godfather, aka Champion Scribe. We're here with His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, aka No Longer a Munch, aka rocking the wife pleaser today, King Grant.
welcome back, everybody. It's album mode. This time, we're reviewing JID or JID and his latest album, God Does Like Ugly. JID, JID, which one do you want to go by?
Let's go JID.
Okay, JID, an artist that I have been acquainted with since his breakouts. I want to say since what was the song? I think it was the Never Story. So that was the album,
Okay.
The Never
Okay.
Story. And I had been acquainted with him since then, and I've been on the fringe of the fandom where people are like, "Oh, this is the next guy up. This is gonna be the next dude. This is the next Kendrick. This is the next this, next that, next this, next that." And we are now 7 years, 8 years from that moment.
hmm
And I am still waiting on that next evolution. I'm still waiting on when he becomes the next XYZ person.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of how he's viewed because that was kind of how he was presented to us right away. Almost like the chosen one when he was signed to J. Cole. You know,
Mhm.
a lot of artists have signees, but not every signee is like, he's gonna save the label, he's the guy. So when you talk about people saying he's the next Kendrick or the next so and so, you're not wrong. People have been saying that about him. The Never Story was 2017. So what is the expiry date on that kind of thing? It's like when you talk about a player in sports and it says, how young do you have to be to say they can still improve? You know? So I don't know if that is the case here, but I think, there's something with the albums that since the beginning, they've all been critically acclaimed. This is
Mhm.
his fourth project. And basically since the start, Never Story 2017, huge critical acclaim when that came out. He's one of the rappers I think of in terms of when you think of rapping fast and rapping well. And
Mm.
those are not always the same thing. Now, JID is good at both of those. He can do both. But I think when I think of him, I think of that, category of rapping fast in place of rapping well. Like I always say, sometimes we put different in the place of actually being good.
Mhm.
This, has been a little bit like that. His second album, DiCaprio 2, 2018. This to me, I feel like it's his breakout, even though not at all. That he had a bigger breakout later on. We're going to talk about, of
Yeah.
course. But he had 151 Rum, and then that single with J. Cole Off D's. I think that J. Cole single was probably a lot of people saying, "Okay, he's here." Like this is people knowing about him. That single kind of went viral in a way.
Mhm.
Whatever JID and J. Cole's version of viral is. I think that was one of the first from the two of them. And then coming up to his last album, The Forever Story, in 2022. That one is probably my favorite JID project. That's a project I was like, okay, I really like this guy. I can see where people are going with this. I was very impressed with the last album. We didn't end up reviewing it, but what were your thoughts about the last album, The Forever Story?
The Forever Story, it was okay. I think that my overarching opinion of JID up until this album, God Does Like Ugly, has been he is very okay. I was not a person, I was at the very beginning, I was not a person who was seduced by his speed of rapping. That was not something that really got me. Just respectfully, like that's just it just didn't. I was alive during Twista. I was alive during Busta Rhymes. I've seen that one before. So I think that that never fully gripped me. And then when it came to his like production for his albums, I was like, it's okay. Like it kind of reminds me of like maybe like a Schoolboy Q, but maybe like not as grungy.
Okay, I'm not here for that comparison.
But
But
I thought it was okay,
but
basically. And
I
that's how
no,
I feel like about most of his music going forward.
I understand where you're coming from because I went back and listened to the Forever Story after I listened to this album. I said, let me give myself some reference because I do think this is actually probably his best album to me. But I was like, what were his albums before? What do I remember from them? How did they feel when I listened to them? And I think with him, there is a bit of that. He over raps so many of his songs, and it is part of his style. This is the album I felt like where he didn't do that. There's a
Okay.
lot of parts in this album where the old JID would have been twice as fast. And
Right.
I think there are some times here where you're like, oh, okay, look at you watching it at regular speed and not double speed. So I totally get with you on that one. And I think it's funny that that same thing applies to this next song I want to talk about, Surround Sound, which went viral in late 2023
Mhm.
because of the ceiling challenge, one of my favorite challenges, if
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah,
didn't know.
yeah. That was a
Yeah,
time.
phenomenal piece of art over there. And it trended that song to peak at number 40 on the Billboard Hot 100. And why that song stands out to me so much is again, that's just like a huge moment for him 2 years after the release of the record. But the second half of that song to me is the better half of that song. And the first half sounds more like a 21 Savage
Yeah.
record, and the second half is more of a JID record.
Yeah.
And I think that was instructive in terms of he actually is a very versatile as a rapper, maybe even underrated. There isn't much he can't rap on. I think about Kid Cudi saying years ago that there's a lot of rappers he wants to work with, but they can't rap on his type of beats.
Hmm.
They're very, in a box. JID is not that. And so I think surround sound was the test case of when he raps on different kinds of production, what can happen. Because that was basically a 21 Savage type of beat that JID rapped on. And the rest of his
Yeah.
music doesn't really have that sound all the time. So very, very interesting for that song to go so viral.
Yeah, I would say that his versatility is actually pretty high compared to his contemporaries because I mentioned this before we started recording the pod, but I was like, I liked his collab with NewJeans. Like, I thought that was actually pretty good.
Right,
I
right.
genuinely thought that was good. And I can't really name too many hip hop artists, especially from, I believe he's from Atlanta,
Yeah,
that can cross over with a K-pop group. I think it's like Megan the Stallion and JID, and that's it.
yeah.
So we are in the space where I'm like, okay, the ability to exist in different spaces, he has that. Whether or not he actually wants to do that in his music is another thing, right? So I think that when it came to this album, that's kind of what I was looking for because I'm gonna be honest with you guys,
Oof.
JID not impressive to me. Not an impressive artist. A person that he's just like he's have you ever seen that meme of Potential Man? That's
Yeah.
who JID is to me.
I hate that you said that. I can't unsee that now. I can't unhear that. Oh,
That that
JID's
is who
potential man.
that's who JID is to me, where he's just perpetually up and coming, perpetually the next, perpetually the
That
potential. And I'm like, this has been going on for 8 years now. Again, that's been since 2017. So I'm just like, if we're just continuously talking about one's potential as almost a decade nears, that person isn't very good.
I I'm not going to agree with you there because I do think the thing about him that's different is the actual stardom hasn't grown, but the music has gotten better.
Mm,
So I think just from an actual music standpoint, he's been improving every album to me. It's almost like when they say a player in basketball plays at one speed and they need to slow down like a John
mm,
Wall
mhm.
in his career. I think JID has figured a lot of that out. So I think the music is improving. The stardom is a separate category. This leads me to his highest charting single. We don't always include this, and this may be something we do going forward because it's very, very interesting to see what it is. Now, this song, I don't even know this song. I've never even heard the song that apparently is highest charted single. Do you have a guess what this song is? It's him featuring a huge band, a high streaming band that does very well. It was part of a Netflix show, if that helps at all. But it's his highest
Okay,
charting single.
that's not even what I was gonna guess because he has. Didn't he have a song for like League of Legends or some shit like that?
Okay, you're on the right track. The song is Enemy with Imagine Dragons
Yeah.
from Netflix's Arcane.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, there we go.
there you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're I was in the realm.
Yeah.
I
You,
was in
you were in the realm for sure.
I was in the
Someone in the
realm.
comments is not gonna like that, but definitely in the
First of all,
realm.
hold on. It's like no, but it actually is though because I mean, Arcane is based off of the lore from League of Legends, like it
No,
is.
no, no. You're not. You're in the
Guys, I was
vicinity.
playing. First of all, just even to
Not in the
back up,
vicinity. Let's hear
just
it. Let's hear
to
it.
back up my
Let's hear your League of Legends credentials.
my I was playing that shit in the beta.
Okay.
Okay, when
Okay.
Master Yi and people just know this, when Master Yi could like his teleport attack, I think is his Q right now. You could do that to a tower. That's what he was doing. He was multi-hitting towers. Okay, that's when the rises E. I mean, they probably reworked it. Rises E that also hit towers as well. Okay, that is
You've
for
gained
like
your
the
credentials
five.
back.
That's like the five people that play League of Legends. I also listen to our podcast. That's for them. Okay, I
The
was there.
the crossover.
I was there. I was there when Ginsu and I forgot the other creator left Dota to work on League of Legends. Okay, I was there. Um, Also, this is a sidetrack, but it's like if you're wondering why, I look so disheveled and why my background is so so drastically different.
It's so funny we made it this far, and it's like if you're wondering.
Yeah, if you're wondering why I look like I just stepped out of my garage, which I don't actually have anymore, and why the background is so different is because I live in Hamilton now, working at the Hamilton Spectator, and this is my apartment that you can sort of see. So yeah, so JID, let's start talking about this album, or actually, what was your favorite song coming into this album? Because that is something that I am curious about, just for everybody that's listening to this.
The thing is, I don't really have a favorite actual JID song. I got favorite songs that he's on,
Okay.
but I really don't have a favorite JID song. Like, when he did Water Boys with him and Earth Gang and J. Cole, I really like that one.
Hmm.
Down Bad from the Dreamville, one of their tapes. I like that. So I'm not the JID fan who is, listening to the whole albums every day.
Hmm.
I'm more like his features than anything. What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I think that I actually really liked Never from the Never story, like early days. His feature on the New G song Coca-Cola is actually very good.
Hmm.
And then obviously surround sound, but I actually like the first half better than the
Yeah.
second half.
Okay, they're both good, both good, both
Yeah.
great halves.
So there's a sprinkling of his songs all over different eras of his music, actually, that I enjoy. But there hasn't been a standout number one, I love this track when it comes to him. So that's what I was looking forward to with God does like ugly. Is like, is there going to be finally a song where I'm like, I love this song by him?
I think we got to put some guys like him in this category where they may never have that kind of song, and it's almost in both ways. It doesn't have to be a hit song because we like tons of songs that are not hit songs.
Hmm.
That like I think of Vince Staples, and that's on When Sparks Fly. That is like platinum on album mode. That's an album
Yeah.
mode platinum. That's a hit song to the two of us. So
Yes.
even
Yes.
a
Yes.
song like that, I don't think he's that kind of artist. I think that song might be out there, but I don't feel like he's that kind of artist.
Hmm.
Um, to me, the production is really the star of this project because I think that he has a lot of songs that kind of take him outside of that box that he's been in or been perceived to be in for quite some time. Like these are not always the rapper's rapper beats.
Right.
Some of these beats are like, wow, I would love to see, someone else even on this, to see what it could be like. So I think the beat selection on here is really the standout to me. Obviously, his rapping is incredible, but I think this is the first project from him, that I'm somewhat impressed by the beats that he's choosing, just
Yeah.
in terms of how different they are than what he usually does. My favorite song on here, this is one of my favorite beats, VCRs.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that.
With Vince Staples,
I knew
yeah,
you were gonna say
Vince
that.
Staples album with Hall of Fame, of course. So
He is actually.
we know where we're at with that. But I wanted to segue this into how I'm thinking about this project is Vince Staples is one of those artists who does the thing that I think we've asked a bunch of other rappers to do that they don't, that JID is, I guess, leaning towards, is having kind of almost contemporary pop rap type of sounds,
Hmm.
and just working your rhymes around that. Like Vince Staples is an amazing rapper, but he doesn't make that kind of typical lyrical rapper type of music. And that's
True.
why his last few albums have been so good. Is that like these are beats that you think of with a different type of artist than Vince Staples, and he's just taking his talent to them. So that's kind of what I wanted to see on here, from JID.
Hmm.
VCRs is like his version of that. You know, it still sounds like a JID song. Let's not get it twisted, but this is his version of that.
Yeah, I liked VCRs as well. But I liked it more because I'm like, this kind of reminds me of a Vince Staples song, and then Vince Staples appeared. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here.
It feels
But
like Drive Slow by Kanye West, but you know, a different tempo for something like JID would do.
yeah, it's still I think it's still a solid song. I think my Nobu, sorry, I think is
Hmm.
probably my favorite produced song just because it's basically an R&B song that he happens to be rapping in. But
Hmm.
it definitely brought like a different flavor of his music. The idea that he's doing more of an R&B sound, I think is interesting in it of itself, to be honest. Because
Hmm.
I when I think of JID's music, I just think that this is like, when you look in the genre tab, it's like rap slash hip hop. Like it doesn't really deviate
Yeah,
much.
and other than that, no.
Yeah, so for him to be able to exist with Jessie Reyes, shout out to her, Canadian. Um, I think that space actually works really well for him, and it kind of reminded me of Smino a little bit in a song like that, where I was like, okay, I would say his nasally voice
Hmm.
actually resonates with that type of slow style of music. So I thought that was really good. I thought the production was good. I thought the hook from Jesse Reyes is really good too. I think that again his nasally voice in combination. I'm like, okay, this is good stuff.
That's why I think, like, he is actually getting better. Like he has had songs with R&B artists before, but a song like Nobu is like that's not what you think of as a JID song,
Yeah,
and he's actually making the song better. Like it's not just
yeah,
like
yes,
Jesse
yeah,
Reyes is there and then he's legitimately making the song better. So that's the kind of thing that I didn't, and maybe again in the comments let us know, JID fans. He's always had this in his bag, and I've just been missing it. But I think that it's more than just kind of a rap R&B combo on that record. It's them actually working together. It is more of a duet, it feels like.
yeah.
So I think, that was a really good one. There's one song on here that, I feel like I got a song on every album. I'm like, I gotta see what Demar thinks of this.
Mm.
What did Demar think when he heard this? And that is song number one, when you heard your favorite rapper, Westside Gunn. Tell
Here's
me
the
what you
thing.
thought when you
I'm
heard that.
I'm gonna give him a pass on this song because first of all, it wasn't as egregious as previous West Side Gun songs, and you know it gets a little bit crazy with the West Side Gun songs. The ad libs not as egregious. I feel like he existed on the track, but it wasn't. I don't know. I felt like his background shouting, his background ad libs, all that type of stuff actually fit in and helped develop the track overall for JID. Otherwise, I would say that like most of the time, I don't want West Side Gun on any of the songs that I listen to, just genuinely,
Any
like
of that.
just any of them, like none, zero,
Mhm.
would be preferable. But I think that his ad libs that he usually uses for his music are working in the background for other people's music. It's kind of like Playboi Carti in a way,
Mhm.
where like you can just have Playboi Carti just do the ad libs, and that's an ad to your song. And I think that's happening on this song as well. To be honest,
Wow, you heard it here first. Okay, you heard it here first.
and
2025, Westside Gunn is Demar's new favorite artist. Uh,
yeah, 2025, Demar just compared Westside Gun to Playboi Carti.
like, come on, what more? if you listen to this podcast, you know how much that means to Demar. For him to say that and mean it, that was from the heart.
But it's
So
real though. But that's the thing with the things that every time I say something crazy, I have real thought behind it. It's not
n-
just I'm just saying wild shit, you know?
no, I know. But what I'm saying is, if you say that about Playboi Carti, about
Hmm.
Westside Gunn, that means it's authentic. But I like it because I think a lot of people have felt that way about Westside Gunn with everything he does.
Hmm.
Now you finally get it. It took, him working with JID for
But
you to get it, but better late than never.
I know it's two of my, I would say, pretty low on the rankings of my favorite artists in hip hop, and I'm like, wow, the two things that I'm not really, the two bad, the two bad things. I'm like, oh, okay, like actually, there's a little combination here.
It works. It works. I want to talk about Work, which, was
Hmm.
was one of the singles. I think that's almost an obvious choice as a
Yeah.
single. To me, I think the single for me would have been Skate. Skate, I think,
Oh.
would have been a really, really good single. That would have been very interesting.
Oh yeah, with Sierra. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But Work to me is what I feel so optimistic from this album about JID, even though that was a single, I've heard that song for a while.
Hmm.
That's a kind of song where his style of rapping can shine, it can work, no pun intended.
Hmm.
Um, and that's the kind of song I think he can make consistently in a way that not everybody can. And I think that's the kind of song we've talked about in the past where you gotta have us one of those in your bag, like
Yeah.
a hype song you're rapping on, you're doing the chorus as well. Like that's a song I think is gonna really help a JID set for anyone seeing him
Yeah,
live. Yeah, go ahead.
and it will also. I think that song is gonna get playlisted. Actually,
I have
that
it
song's gonna
literally.
playlist pretty well.
That's what I was about to say. I have it in my notes. The song is gonna get synced a lot.
Yeah.
Like the song is gonna get synced a ton. So yeah, that's a good one right there. And then the beat for G's. G's is a song I see people talking about a lot online. I was like, I gotta go back and listen to this when I saw
Yeah.
people
I had to do
talking
the
about
same
it.
thing.
I was like, all right, what am I missing with G's? G's is good, but G's is like a version of Work to me that's kind of in the same vein from him. But what I like
Yeah.
about G's is those strings just give it a different energy. And I think that's something about his music that the tempo may not always be where the center of hip hop is, but the actual music and production makes his music atmospheric in
Hmm.
a way. And I think that's part of why he's been as popular as he is, because a song like G's, where he's talking about the beat on that beat can have a whole different feeling, but that kind of eerie string sound, it gives it a different energy. So I like what he does in terms of using the actual music in his songs to give the song a vibe, as well working with his voice.
Yeah, I think G's is a good track as well. A lot of the songs, and I don't mean to bring this comparison so many times. A lot of the songs I listen to, I'm like, these are kind of like harder versions of Smino songs. Like sometimes I listen to the songs, I'm just like, Smino would have killed on this. And I think that this is one of those songs where it's like the 808s are so heavy in the background that I think that most
Hmm.
people cannot picture Smino on the song.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I think that these are like harder versions where it's like these, that the strings in the background that you were talking about, or even on a song like Work, I'm like, that probably could have
Mhm.
fit on a previous Smino album. So it's like this weird zone where, and also the voices are similar as well.
I think it's the voices and the tempo because I think what you said about the 808s are so heavy
Hmm.
on this record, sorry, not Work,
Jeez.
G's, that it couldn't be a Smino song. That's why I think none of these could be Smino songs, really. Like Smino, even Smino's records that are more hard aren't this heavy.
Hmm.
It's more of a lighter sound, and
Yeah.
maybe that's a way to describe JID to someone is like think similar voice to Smino, but harder beats.
Yeah,
Like
harder Smino. Yeah.
yeah, because I think that's like the clear differences. And again, maybe I'm saying this because I just saw Smino live a few months ago,
Hmm.
but I think he doesn't have kind of this heavy bass in a lot of his records. But I think the voice is definitely a good comparison.
That would be
Is
a
there
crazy switch up for Smino, by the way. I think that would
to
be
go with the hard beats?
yeah, that would be really interesting because of like the aesthetic and like his fandom that he's cultivated right now is very earthy, very earthy, free girl free boy vibes.
Mhm.
And for him to flip that on its head, I think would be a unique situation.
I actually like that idea because Smino can actually rap.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing is people would probably think of him more like that,
but I would
hearing
just
him at
like
those kind of beats.
it would just be interesting to hear him doing like all of the vocal shit that he does on the lighter tracks, but on these deeper songs, like or not deeper, like darker, grittier
Yeah.
songs. So that would just be
Listen,
fascinating.
give me this Smino 21 Savage. That's the
Yeah,
collab I
bro,
want.
that would be sick. Okay, back to our JID review.
That's how you know we've gone so far. When we've taken one artist and then collabed them with another artist who is not
Not
JID, like we've lost the plot completely. That is so funny. Anything else on production? Because I want to talk about the lyrics a little bit.
No, I think my last thing on production is that his collabs, I think the people he collabs with are
Hmm.
solid and they kind of like pull him in different directions. So the song that we were talking about, Skate, I think is a pretty solid track for him. I
Hmm.
would say it's a little bit unorthodox for him. That's something that I could picture 2025 Drake doing right now. Not so much Smino. So that is just or Smino. JID. See what happened. Look what
No,
happened.
no. JID, I'm offering you a formal apology from album mode. Okay, that was egregious. A formal album mode apology from me, Adriel Smiley, to you, JID. We haven't even got to the score yet, but I just want to apologize just for the past 3 minutes.
Hey, here's the thing. We have not even compared him to Kendrick Lamar, and that used to be tagged onto him like white on rice, bro.
You're right. We're above the bare minimum. Now we've
Yeah.
chosen someone who's not as great as Kendrick Lamar to compare to.
We got a guy that's, a fraction of his famous, a fraction as acclaimed.
Oh my goodness. That's even better, isn't it? Like, what we've
Oh,
done.
oh my goodness. But yeah, I think the people he collabs with are able to pull out a different version of him that he would not do. Like Skate, for example, with Sierra and Earth Gang.
Hmm.
That's a unique combo, bro. Like that's a crazy unique combo, and I'm appreciative of that. I don't know if he is like a person who I'm like, yo, we gotta get JID on a track like this. Don't even. We gotta get JID on a track like this. But I
Yo.
will applaud the attempt because it wasn't bad, but it
Hmm.
wasn't exemplary. Like it was still solid. So I think that that having that dance stylings to his music, having it be
Hmm.
more up tempo, I think it actually helps his rapping because it allows him to rap fast in a
Yes.
setting where the fast rapping actually is just like this is actually a tool in the toolbox. Kind of reminds me of like when the baby was rapping on that song with Dua Lipa.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I can't remember the name of that song. It was like that was like her hit song too. Elevating. Was it Elevating?
I don't remember the name of it.
But yeah, the speed like sometimes when you're on a dance track like Skate or the Dua Lipa
Hmm.
track that we cannot remember that is literally her most popular song.
Dua Lipa fans, I'm sorry.
But the speed of your rapping actually being fast and being good at that
Hmm.
allows you to exist in like those dance spaces. That's like even Megan Thee Stallion is like that too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That speed of rap and the dance setting, and because he is so versed in that with just hip hop in the previous albums, it allows him to be comfortable in a space like Skate, and it doesn't sound weird, doesn't sound out of place or anything like that. It's like a return to old form, but a new sound. So I think that I really like that song. I think I've talked myself into liking it more, to be honest.
I love that. I love
But
that.
I really like that concept. I really like what's happening on that song. And again, a collaboration with Sierra in 2025. That only only a few people can even think of doing
That's
something like that.
legendary. That's legendary. That's legendary. Yeah, I think he has this thing, and it's funny because the person I thought of as well for this project, and some of these records, not Smino, though we're not
Hmm.
going there with it, Amine.
Okay.
Because Amine does this thing where he's on these faster songs but doesn't actually rap as fast,
Right.
which is why I've always kind of given him more credit of like that's really the talent of hearing a song be 140 BPM and you still rapping at a speed that's comfortable for you.
Hmm.
So I think JID is really I want to say getting there because I'm sure he can do it.
Can't say get in there. Yo, JID is like 31 years old, you know?
He's 34, but
Okay.
I think to me he has the ability. It's just him actually making the choice artistically to say, I don't need to out rap this record. And I feel like this is the album he has the most of that. I have a couple songs for lyrics because
Okay.
I've started to say that he's underrated, and
Well, he's
it,
not,
it,
bro. Here's
I,
the thing. Like, let me dispel that right now, okay? Because JID's entire fandom is like next Kendrick Lamar ability. The rapping, you gotta listen to the. I know he's rapping fast, but you gotta listen to the bars though. So
it,
there's no underrating to his lyrical ability because that is like the fandom calling card for him.
no, that is, but why I say he's underrated because I don't think people actually think that. I think that's just been what he's been associated as,
Mhm.
and people just have been saying that for so long. It's just part of, the world at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't think that people actually think that about him lyrically. Like I think he's almost becoming. I don't want to even call him this person. That's a big compliment, but he's becoming one of those artists where people are including them in the best rappers lyrically, but not actually knowing their raps.
I agree.
And that's why I'm saying he's underrated because I think his actual raps are good, but I
Okay.
think a lot of people are mentioning him either online or in person as one of the best rappers without not actually knowing his raps. So
Mhm.
I think his raps are actually good, and that's something I noticed on this project. The song "Community,"
Okay.
he has this verse on there that I thought was like absolutely, incredible. But what I like about Community is it features Eclipse, and he has a ton of records on this project with like, really really good rappers. But I think wait, the song with the clips is like he didn't make it all like rappity, you know.
Yep.
And I think the clips are probably the best, maybe the best of all time, of being like elite level rappers at not making their songs so wordy. And this is one of those songs that I feel like, he got pretty close on that. He says, it's off the kilter. I say the words without a filter. You gotta have nerve. It'll make you strong if it don't kill you. I'll put a bullet in Bob the fucking Builder. For they try and kick us out the building. What about the children? When I check a news channel, I got a similar feeling. But still, we gonna make it to heaven. High water or hell, but don't take the highways. 285 behind the damn wheel. It's like a driveway. Something about him that really stands out to me that, again, I feel like he's underrated is he has never been rapping just to rap. Like he's driving the car of his lyrics. And what I mean by that is there are certain people who you can almost tell they're just like freestyling or just whatever comes next with the phrase. That's directs them in terms of the rapping they're doing.
Hmm.
JID is not that at all. Like he's driving the car, saying what he wants to say, but making it clever. And I think that's something that he's kind of always had and it's been underrated about him. But I like this section here where he says, "For they try and kick us out the building, what about the children? When I check a news channel, I get a similar feeling." That is like a little sprinkle of consciousness in these lyrics.
Ooh.
Like these records are not like, it's not Tie My Hands, Lil Wayne. It's not Runaway Love, Ludacris. Like we're not getting these like full blown message records. Like, but I think we haven't mentioned the word conscious in terms of him being a rapper at all. That's I think why he's in this unique group where usually if you're considered super lyrical, you're considered conscious. Those two just
Right.
go together and the circles he runs in as well. Like that's all the recipe is there, but we're whatever amount of time into this review haven't mentioned it once. And I think it's using devices like that in terms of telling that story, where it's as simple as saying, "For kick us out the building, what about the children? Every time I see the news, I get a similar feeling." That is almost the perfect amount of vague, like the perfect amount of vague. And I think that is maybe it's a Dreamville thing because I think J. Cole does a good job of it as well. But I think that is a sweet spot lyrically that really impressed me on this project of not being preachy, but this is not just all shaking ass.
Right. Yeah, I think that JD is definitely one of the better rappers of this era. And I think that I would say you're kind of right where I think that situations like the fast rapping almost masks how good he is because it's kind of hard to follow just on first rip. You have to go back and read it. But also because of the idea of one person is rapping fast, thus it's complex and interesting. Um, Kind of guises the idea of like he actually raps about things. I think that I will say that throughout the album, his rapping is like solid. Like I think his actual like performance of the rapping is very solid. There's a couple of times where he kind of breaks the structure of songs when he's rapping, but it's not to the point where he's breaking the song. It's like he's doing it on purpose just to make it a little bit off kilter. There is one song that I'll bring up that I actually really liked, which is Glory, and which is, for most people that might be, yeah, whatever, but for people who are close to me, for me to be like, the song about God, really interesting to me. That's not something I say like ever. Uh-huh. You're muted right now.
Sorry, this is the first time ever. The closest you got to this was when you cried at the Bad Bunny song. This is
Oh, yeah.
like this is like
Bro,
adjacent.
that Bad Bunny song, that's a real like that's a true emotional song. Bro, I don't even speak
No.
Spanish. And I'm like here
Ama-
tearing up
I,
listening to that
I was talking
song.
about it the other day. Yeah, crazy record. But
Um,
yes, you love God and glory. Glory to
okay.
God.
Aggressive. That's that's a little bit aggressive. I'm the gold chain, no pennant on the gold chain for a reason. Okay. This is in verse 2. Where he says, or sorry, verse 3, where he says, "Look, odds against me switch." That's the ad lib. Odds against me. I'm against the odds, trying to get even. See the evil in my eyes. Vengeance is the Lord's, so I'll leave it up to God. But if he don't come forward, I'ma get me mines. Had you clearing out your closet, I'ma empty mines. And if you tempt me, sinner, send him 6 feet down. Tell a drive till exhibit. Come pimp my ride. I
Mhm.
make her switch anything that ain't gonna get time. You get the gist, just in case I'm in the wrong state of mind. So I'll go a little bit further, which I am most of the time. But then I told the line. So this is one of those tracks. I mean, this is a common trope in hip hop where you evoke God, vengeance to save your enemies from your wrath. And I think that he plays it really well here because this is verse 3. The first two verses are more religious, like how, God has blessed his life. And he had a specific phrasing where he's like, God has decked us out. He's decked us out. And for him to be going from that to verse 3 where he's like, I need there to be a benevolent being to save you guys because I'm coming for you. Like,
You know, it's you
like
need it.
you need
Like,
the savior.
yeah, it's not a question of want. You need it. It would
Yeah,
be rough for
you
you if
need it.
not.
It's like odds against me. I'm against the odds. Okay, like whatever, whoever. I'm coming after whoever who has it. So I think that this song, for it to have that flip, the wrath and vengeance flip in it is pretty unique, especially considering again the first two verses are really about the spirituality of his life. So
Hmm.
I think that that's an interesting flip in his music. But yeah, so I think that JID, for him to be able to do a song like that, for him to be able to do a song like that, to me shows that like this is a person who is actually got serious grip on the craft because like I said, this is that vengeance and wrath thing that he's evoking in that song. That is part of hip hop, but to have a song where it flips like that, I feel like it's kind of unique. I can't really remember another song that really does that. So I'll give him credit for that. And I already talked about Nobu. Nobu is more about like his ability to even exist on a song like Nobu, or no, sorry, not Nobu. Skate.
Hmm.
The idea that he can even exist on Skate is impressive to me. So I think that his rapping overall is phenomenal. Like when he says, this is in verse one, where he's like, "Shawty, you and I vibe. Take a few shots like Tupac." Okay, a little bit disrespectful, but okay. I've been, I've seen a bunch of mean guys in a banana tie throwing up Westside, giving side eyes. Ain't nobody that I really recognize. I ain't surprised niggas will ride till I kill a vibe. Pride be the rise, you died trying to feel alive, but I'm incentivized by a dime that's sick in her thighs. Aren't we all?
Same.
Aren't we all? So,
Spiritual.
so yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, there's some good things happening, some fun things happening. A little bit disrespectful with the Tupac thing, but again, it's hip hop. We'll let it slide. So I like what he's doing. I think his rapping is really good. I think yeah, I think my only downside, I mean, we've been talking about a lot of the good things that have been happening on this album. I think my only downside on this album is some of the songs where I'm just like, it doesn't music needs to evoke something
Yeah, it's like you
from
don't
me.
care for it. You don't care for
Yeah,
it.
there are some songs like the song with Baby Kia, on McAfee.
Hmm.
I've heard a song like that a million times in my life. The jingling, like the chimes jingling and the hard 808s. I'm like,
Feels like a JID song we've heard before.
yeah, I've heard, that a million times, and he wasn't doing anything unique or innovative or anything with it. Same thing with like, I think it's like K word? No. The K word is okay. But then there's like the song with Don Toliver, What We On.
Mm.
It's okay. It's okay. A little Drakey for me, and you're not a Drake artist, respectfully.
Yeah, I still appreciate songs like "What We On" with Don Toliver,
Hmm.
even of Blue. I think that there's something there. Wholeheartedly, I liked because
Of Blue is okay. It's okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's okay.
but I think we can talk now more about the album as a whole in terms of actually being cohesive. I think having those kind of records is what I think he's doing better. Like, is he better at those kind of records than someone else doing those kind of records? Maybe not. I
Hmm.
think that remains to be seen. But I think, in reality, the fact that he has, a VCR, Skate, What We On, Wholeheartedly, Nobu, all like back to back on this project. I named a few records there.
Yeah.
Is that we kind of have seen this before, and as well, this is part of how people view him as a project full of G's. Now, Jesus is a great record,
Hmm.
but a project full of G's might not be what you want to hear. So I'm giving him kind of more credit for these other records, and maybe not knocking them out the park, but doing a good job on them. I really like For Keeps as the outro. I thought For Keeps was good. Um, so I think cohesiveness, maybe not. There's almost too much sounds on this to be
Yeah.
cohesive. But I think as a whole, this seems like one of those projects that sounds better as a project. I
Mm.
think it probably taking you through the different modes and moods of the hype Westside Gun to start with, and then you get to a Nobu later on. So I think this probably is an album that the songs themselves individually might not be as dynamic, but as a full listen, you probably get more points.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that when it gets broken apart for general consumption, I think it actually will be one of his better albums just
Hmm.
because we talked about a song like Skate that can just get pulled and put in different places. Geez,
Yeah.
we feel like it's gonna get pulled and put on a different
Work.
work. Yeah, so like there's a bunch of different songs that just like they're just people are just gonna be yanking, put in the gym playlist, put it in the
Yeah.
maybe this can make the yeah, maybe one of these songs can make the yacht rap playlist. I'm not sure, but
Possibly.
yeah,
But
like
there's
I
more places for these songs to go.
yes, exactly. So I think it'll be good for him in particular because I think he needs that. Like
Hmm.
surround sound was really good for him because we were just getting him in a different space of just like strictly hip hop. Like people were dancing to his music. I feel like
Oh, they were dancing.
yeah, they were dancing to his like people were dancing to his music. They were dancing, but that is a form of dance.
Hmm.
To twerk is a form of dance. Thank you.
100%.
So people were dancing to his music, which was not a thing before that, like people
No.
don't people are not dancing to JID's music, right? So that is something that I think is good for him just to be in these different spaces because he's such a strictly rap, trap, hip hop artist that I feel like in an era of hip hop where you can literally fuse hip hop to anything else, he
Hmm.
has kind of not been able to do that or has refused to do that.
Hmm.
But he is kind of dipping his toe into that extra space that hip hop has forged for itself, right? So that I think it will be good for him.
Yeah, I think for his career, this is a win to me. For two things. One, again, these different records that can live in other playlists and other places. That's always a win for an artist like JID. And then as well, I think just from in terms of respect, this is probably the album that's getting him the most respect. That's kind of where he stands. I saw someone saying, "Is he the leader of the next generation?" I said this could have been written in 2017. Like let's just copy and paste that conversation. But I do think why he's gaining more of that respect is that he slowed down so much of his raps that people can now actually understand what he's saying and see
Mhm.
that he's actually saying stuff. And that to me is always going to hold more weight than just the rapping fast. I think of someone like Jadakiss. Jadakiss almost never raps fast. And
Right.
he's one of the most respected lyricists of ever. And he's not someone who you see doing the double, triple time flow. He stays in his pocket, laid back, and just gives you the bars. So I think JID can kind of get there at some point. Let's talk about the cover. I
I
want to
think
know what you think about
I think
this.
it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I think it's probably his best or second best cover. I like the Forever Stories cover actually a lot.
He's
Um,
always had good
yeah, he
covers.
has good covers actually. But I
Yeah,
think that this one in particular is really good. Like this is like obviously it's art, but I'm like this is a work of art, bro. Like
I know
this cover is
this
legit.
would be a cover to put up in your place. Like, just off
Facts,
cover
maybe.
alone, like this would be one of those.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not a vinyl cop though.
Unfortunately, no. JID, I don't think I don't think that's happening for him. I don't know if that's in the cards for him.
You mean like ever?
I don't
Like,
think so. Honestly, I think that the things that I value in hip hop, uh, he is not a person that exudes those things. I think the originality of certain artists, like I mentioned, Playboy, I always talk about Playboy Carti, Tyler the Creator. The originality, like unique sound, unique vocals. Like how many times we compare him to Smino in this review, right?
yes.
And then unique sound, he doesn't really have a unique sound. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
that's overarching with everything I was talking about, where I'm like, he just kind of like put himself in a box and
Hmm.
then very rarely has he tried to escape it. I feel like it's happened with these songs. And again, surround sound was kind of one of the first breakouts where it's like it's somebody other than dudes listening to your music, like you actually have more of a demo.
Yeah, I think the thing about him, and he is literally moving out of the space I'm talking about, but maybe not fast enough for Demar or even myself.
Hmm.
Is when I talk about, a lot of artists are either musician, poet, entertainer. You can be all three, but most people are at least predominantly one. I think he was predominantly poet and
Yeah.
the fast speaking poet. I think it was like poet, fast speaking poet, and I think the musician part of his repertoire is has been growing. Like I think that's clear on this project. Some of these, like a song like Skate, he sounds like he could do 12 of those.
Right.
Like we could have a K Tremine with JID instead. Like that's how comfortable he sounds on that.
But he needs the
Uh,
vision. He doesn't, I feel like he doesn't have the vision for that.
but I also think that's just not where he wants to take his sound. And
Right.
so maybe that part is growing and we'll see that grow more. But to me, he's always been the poet category, a lot more becoming in the musician category and then entertainer as well. I think those two things have to come along. But for me, I'm actually, impressed with how far he's come. I think obviously there's still more to go, but I think in terms of where he started
Hmm.
and where he's at now, um, that is a big leap. I want to go on a limb here, okay, and kill me in the comments that this is a not a no skips. Is that
Okay.
correct?
I agree.
Yeah,
Um, it was
I
for the first little bit, it was. for the first, I want to say 6 songs.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, we're talking.
You
Like,
know
this
what?
was really good.
You know what I realized about his music, is that you talked about it not being like danceable.
Hmm.
There's a lot of that where it's not even like a bop that you can kind
Yeah,
of
not really.
cruise to, you know? Like even with Khalifa's last album, some of those songs came on and I was like, oh, like I listened to them a while, but these you can just
What's happening?
cruise.
Woo!
Yeah, you can just cruise to. Even someone like Gunna's last project.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, some of these songs you can literally just cruise to. JID is almost made for active listening or aggressive listening,
Hmm.
and I think this album has less of those, but it has either like something really chill and then something really aggressive. We don't have that like middle vibe bounce area, and I think that's what he's really missing. I want you to go first here. Okay,
With
I want to
score.
hear where you're at with the score.
Yeah.
Please like, give the
I
people what they want.
I think JID's God Does Like Ugly is a 6 out of 10. It's solid. Nothing that is breaking, like nothing that is, mind-bogglingly good or bad. I think some of the songs, especially I want to say the first, I'm looking at it now, the first one, two, three, first 7 songs I like. And then it kind of drops off a cliff after that. Like,
Mm-mm.
I like Wholeheartedly with Ty Dolla Sign. But I liked Ty Dolla Sign's part the best, I think.
Well, of
So
course.
yeah, so there's a little bit of that situation. And Nobu is pretty good, but after that, like and we vibin on McAfee, off blue, K word for keeps. For keeps is okay. But after that, like, that those like series of like what I just say, 5, 6 songs falls off for me. So I think that the rapping is solid. His ability to exist on a song like Work, on a song like Skate,
Hmm.
admirable. But and also the rapping is like re-rappable now. There was a period in time where you could only listen to his music. Like,
Hmm.
even to add on to what we were saying, it's like there's a period in time of his music where you couldn't dance to it, you couldn't really rap it along with him, and you
Nope.
couldn't just
No.
like bump it like in your car while you're on like a Sunday drive or something like that. It was literally just like you have to listen.
Yeah,
So
it's like where do you play this?
yeah. So he's been able to expand that, which is good. So it's a 6. I think it's solid. And this is, guys, you guys are lucky we were not recording the pod when his other albums came out, because I would be killing him for being a Kendrick Lamar clone. But I feel like he has graduated out of that. I would say with
Oh, definitely.
the past couple of albums. So it's a 6 out of 10. It's
Okay.
solid.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
I'm gonna give this a 7.
Okay.
I think this album is good. I think this is going to be an album that is much better as a full listen. I
Okay.
think a lot of these projects, we don't listen to them in full other than the first time. That's how music is listened to now. But as a
Mhm.
full album, it's still album mode. I think this album is actually good. He has a lot more of these different sounds that I didn't see as much in music before and sounds much more comfortable on them. Like, to be honest, if he didn't do a Work, a G's, any of those type of records and just did all like Skate and Nobu, I would love to hear that album. You know, I
Yeah,
would
I would
love
be
to hear
intrigued
that.
by that actually a lot.
Yeah. When they did the Spillage Village album, which is him and Earth Gang, Six Lack Black appears on it a lot. That's what I thought they were going to go for because Black has that middle ground of, R&B rap. And I think JID actually can really do a good job of that. He can't really sing, but here he did a good job of kind of staying in between those two lanes. So 7 for me, 7 out
Mhm.
of 10. Um, I think this is a good time that we finally got our first JID review in. I think of all the projects to get it in, this was the one because we caught the ceiling challenge after Forever Story.
Yeah.
We got the new jeans in there as well.
That's true.
So we've seen him do some things. So great time for this review. If you are listening to us on any of your podcast platforms, you know what to do. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave us a rating and a review, 5 stars, not a single star or less. Of course, find us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on Twitter, Album Mode Pod on Instagram, Album Mode Pod on TikTok. And YouTube people, we love you. We appreciate you. Comment on this video. Let us know what you think. Was I too high? 7 out of 10. If you ask Demar, maybe it's a little less. Your six surprised me, so I gotta say,
Really? What did you think
uh,
I was gonna say? You thought I was gonna be
I thought you were
lower?
gonna go with five. I thought you were gonna go with five for
I
sure.
think it's solid, like I don't
Mm.
hate it.
Okay, okay.
There's good things. There's good things.
Yeah, I would love us to do like a re-listen of some of the albums because there's some albums I think that we like at the time and we
Mhm.
almost never go back to. Like, can we retroactively give someone a lower score? I know that's not nice, but I
Yeah.
feel like this would be one of those I can't see you going back to it.
No, you know what? If we did that, Girl in Red, I think we were super high on the
And
Girl in Red
I
album.
think I listened to maybe one song off there like last year.
Exactly. Like I feel like if we went back but I think if we went back and listened to it, we're like, actually, it's still really good, and then just never touch it again.
Yeah, I feel like I listened to 100 Gex more than The Girl in Red. Like that's 100%. That's 100% fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to see what that is. Maybe that's a sound bites in the future. But listen, you guys, let us know how we did. If you agree with us, disagree, let us know in the comments. Again, you can comment on Spotify now, so
Yeah.
go in there, say what you got to say, and of course, subscribe to us on the YouTube. Like this video. That's how we go up the rankings. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Chance the Rapper album review coming soon. Later days.